Hey, what's going on, everyone? So, I wanted to make this video sort of talking about my vacation to Bayfield and just kind of give you an idea of everything that we did because, surprisingly, I only covered on video maybe a quarter to half of what we actually did. So, let me actually zoom out here so you can see sort of the Bayfield area. So, where we stayed the first time was here in the marina. So a couple of years ago, me and my dad made a spur of the moment decision to just spend a weekend up in Bayfield. And since it was a spur of the moment, we didn't have the travel trailer that we stayed in this past week. So we had to come up with a pretty quick solution and kind of cheap at the same time. So most places in the Bayfield area are going to be expensive to stay in. The Bayfield Inn, the Rittenhouse, which is up the street over here in this area. Yeah, right here. Here's the Rittenhouse. And so we had to find something kind of cheap and on the fly. And so I went on Airbnb and I just kind of put in our price range and found that there was a sailboat that you could stay on. So that's where we stayed. We stayed on a sailboat a couple years ago, the first time we went to Bayfield. And since we were in the marina area and like this whole area right here is like the main sort of area where a lot of people go. This area, because it's the park itself, and then there's a little gazebo right here where they have live music every Tuesday and Thursday in the summertime. And so a lot of people spend the majority of their time like in, let me actually zoom out just a little bit here, in this block right here. So coming down here across, or I'd say like from here all the way down to the marina and then back up this way, because this is the ferry right here, which we'll get to talking about in a second. But yeah, so we did, I'd say, a decent amount in the Bayfield area since we were staying at the marina. So this time around, since we had the travel trailer, we had more time. We kind of took it a little bit more easy. We did come down here a few times, but it was only for maybe a couple hours at the most, and then we headed back to the campers. So I want to just kind of show you where we stayed at. So this is the Bayfield area. The campground is literally right up here. So it's maybe a half mile from town, like center town. It's the Dalrymple Park and Campground. Now, where we stayed was, so you come down in here, come across. So we stayed basically in this area right here. These rocks along the shore lead to a trail that goes up a hill, and so our site was basically in this area right here. This campground in general is basically from here all the way down to here. I think this area tucked back here, there's a walking trail where only tents are able to camp back in here. But then along the edges right here, there's campsites as well. And ours was essentially in this area, right next to the water. It's a big site. I made a video on it, so you guys can kind of check that out. All right, so let's zoom out a little bit. So one thing that we did as well is we went a little bit further north. We wanted to check out Little Sand Bay Park. So all you got to do is just follow 13 all the way up, and then you just cut across here, go through Old K, and it looks like it is a distance away, but it's only maybe a 20-minute drive. Not too bad. So this is Little Sand Bay campground right here. I would suggest going to this one if you want to have um, a little bit better amenities, stuff like that. You're not going to be right next to the water. That's the only downside. And I can actually show you that. So this is my video, and I'll actually pause it, from Little Sand Bay. And it's a great place to stay, I would say, personally. Like I said, I would stay there in a heartbeat if I could. But I'm one of those people where I like being by the water, stuff like that. And so, like I said, if you have a family and stuff like that, this would be a great place to stay because they have amenities that are a little bit better than the place that we stayed at. The place that we stayed at is very boondock feeling. You have power at most of the sites. A few of the sites may not have power. The water you have to get at the entrance and fill your city water tank up if you want fresh water, stuff like that. But yeah, I would suggest checking out Little Sand Bay because, like I said, it looks like a long drive. It's not. You're going from Bayfield right here up to here. Like I said, 20-minute drive. It doesn't take that long. All right, so moving back down to Bayfield. One thing I took pictures of, but I did not record. We went to Madeline Island. It is the only inhabited island in the Apostle Islands, and it's one of the biggest as well, as far as length. I mean, Stockton Island is pretty big too, but Madeline Island is the biggest. La Pointe is the name of the town that sits on the island itself. So if I zoom in far enough here, you can kind of see the way the ferry goes. So for me, my dad, plus his pickup truck, it was $65 for a round trip, so to the island and back, which I think is a pretty good deal because if you have the time and money, you can spend all day on Madeline Island alone. So yeah, the ferry goes here, across Superior, and comes into La Pointe. Now, the ferry ride was about 15 minutes, maybe upwards of 20, but around a 15-minute ferry ride. So not too bad. If you get seasick easily, it's a short ride. I think you can handle it. And then what we did is we wanted to see the island, so we drove basically the whole thing. So we took this road right here that goes along, and then we got onto H right here, and then is this a road? Yep. Got onto H, and then we cut across here, and we went to Big Bay State. Did we go to Big Bay State Park? I'm trying to think here if we did or not. Oh, okay. So we got to here, and then we cut up here, and then this is where we went to. I cannot remember what it's called. Big Bay Town Park. So this is where most of the people were, like on the other side of the island and pretty much furthest north. It's a huge beach, as you can see. Very cool. Like I said, very big. So even if it's a very busy, like Friday or Saturday, something like that, you'll still have plenty of space on this beach. You might have to, walk a distance to get like an empty area of the beach to yourself. But I'd say it's worth it because, like I said, you're on the other side of the island. So you're not looking at the mainland. You're just looking out at Superior and possible small islands. So what we did is we checked this out, and then we drove all the way up this road right here. And then it's unfortunate that we couldn't go back in here. I'm sure there is a road, but it said dead end, so we didn't want to risk anything. So then we cut up this way and just drove this road. So once you get onto this road right here, it's not paved. It's just gravel and rock road from here all the way back down to here. So the northern part of the island is very desolate. Decent amount of construction at some places going on. Lot of nice places that we could see through the trees up in this area. And I would say if I had a plot of land here, I would love to live on this island. I feel like winter would be kind of hit or miss for me, but yeah. So we drove this. From getting on the ferry over in Bayfield to the island, coming back to the ferry again, I'd say was about I'd say right around 2.5, 3 hours, give or take. So we spent about 3 hours on the island, which was good. Like I said, I'd say north of the airport, there's only really the Big Bay Town Park and beach area, and then that's really it for the island north. Once you go north of Big Bay Town Park, there's not a whole lot up here. Just a lot of driving and checking out the scenery. That's really it. South of the airport, they got like little shops and stuff like that. This is the downtown area. Pretty much just goes to the marina, and then the marina is sort of where downtown ends. So from like right here up to the library is going to be sort of your main area of the island. And a lot of people on the ferry didn't take their vehicles. They just got on the ferry and just walked, which you can do if you don't want to take your vehicle and you know you're just going to stay in this area. But I'd say from like the town, from like where you get dropped off at the ferry all the way down to the marina, it's probably 1.5 miles or so, maybe 2 miles. Round trip, you're looking at, I'd say on the high end, 4 miles or so to check out the area. So if you want to get your steps in, if you're an active person, and you know you don't want to, or you're not going to go any further north on the island, just get on the ferry. Don't have to take a vehicle. Save some extra cash. Yeah, Manone Island was pretty cool. These houses right here that are facing Bayfield, these are the expensive ones. $1 million homes at minimum in this area alone. There's one for sale, I believe, right around here, going for about $3.5 million right now. So yeah, expensive, but you got the money. It's pretty cool. So back to Bayfield. Some of the things I can suggest doing is if you want something to eat and you want a decent view of the water, go to Pier Plaza. If you get lucky, you can get an outdoor dining area, because this, you can't tell from a top view, but Pier Plaza is raised just a little bit from the street right here. So when you're in the restaurant, you can see Superior fairly easy. None of these buildings are really blocking a whole lot. If you did want outdoor dining, stuff like that, I would suggest getting a reservation just to make sure that you can actually do that. And then another thing I suggest doing, Granke's First Street Inn and Dining, they were closed when we were there. So if you want some other really good food, we ate there a couple years ago when we were there, and it was great. And then if you want like a little snack or some ice cream, this right here is a little ice cream stand, and they also sell hot dogs and milkshakes and malts and stuff like that. That's a good place to eat. And then where did we go for? Because me and my dad both got shirts. So these buildings right here are all going to be shops and stuff like that. Howell downtown we went into. It's got a big frontage, but I was a little disappointed overall of what they had to offer for how big they were. Up North Clothing, I believe, is the one that we went into. I could be mistaken. They make their own t-shirts in-house, stuff like that. It's one of those types of places. Feels very like Jersey Shore-esque type store. So just kind of keep that in mind. The materials may not be the greatest for shirts, but it's a great place to get a souvenir. Me and my dad were able to get 2 long sleeve shirts for $40, which is a pretty good deal for 2 long sleeves. Their t-shirts, I believe you could get 2 for 30 or 25, something like that. So it's a pretty good deal on some t-shirts. And then they had a whole bunch of other stuff. The Howell downtown actually did have some pretty cool stickers that you could put on like the back of your rear windshield or just on your bumper, stuff like that. So if you're looking for stickers and stuff like that, I would suggest checking that place out. Same thing with beer koozies and stuff like that. They had some very interesting ones, to say the least. And then one more thing I want to mention. I don't remember the day. I believe it was Saturday mornings from 6 a.m. to like 11 or 1. From here down to here, this street is blocked off for the farmers market that they have every Saturday. So if you like yourself a good farmers market, I would check it out. We didn't go to it, but when we left Saturday morning, it was already up and going, and it looked like a good time. But yeah, that's just sort of some of the things I wanted to cover about Bayfield. One other thing I can tell you, this area right here is the best place to be. Hands down, the marina / park area is going to be your best place to, if you want to sit down and relax. The park has plenty of benches spread throughout looking at Superior. If you want to get great views, come out to the pier at the very end here. You can walk all the way down here, and you can walk on these rocks and get way out here if you want to get some good photos and video. A lot of my B-roll and shots of Lake Superior and pictures were taken out on the Bayfield Pier. Like I said, best place to get your shots. Inside here on the park, you can get some great shots too, because it shows the marina off if you want some sailboats in the foreground and then Superior in the background. It's another great place for pictures. But yeah, Bayfield, great place. Great place to go if you live in Wisconsin and you just want to get away for the weekend. Bayfield is a great place. It's only, for me, it's only 4 hours. I'd say if you lived in like the Milwaukee area, you're going to look at probably 5.5, 6 hours, give or take. Even if you're in the Chicago area, drive on up. It's going to be a day drive, but it's worth it overall. I would highly recommend Bayfield for anyone who hasn't been there. If you guys did enjoy this video, hit the like button. I'll see you in the next one.